So like you start to surround yourself with people who are like, just do it for the story, man. Like find, like do cooler things, not because somebody told you to, but like make the decision, like what's going to be the better story and follow that.
Wow.
And like I loved hunting. So it was like, I'm just going to start doing stuff that takes, like I say yes to stuff and go do cool stuff. So it's like, it's what led to the internship with Midwest Whitetail. And it just, all of these decisions was just like, I can do this or this. This is a fork in the road. Like, what's the better story? Like, when I'm looking back at my whole life, what am I going to tell my kids, their kids, friends, family? Like, I want to be able to talk about some stuff.
Welcome to the next episode of the Huntxp podcast. We're glad that you've joined us. If this is your first episode of the Huntxp podcast, welcome. We're glad you're here. You're probably tuning in to hear our conversation with Sam Soholt, which is an awesome one. We hear some great stories from him. Man, it went places we didn't expect. And the big takeaway from hearing Sam's story is what choosing to live a better story can do in your life, man. He's got lots of good stories, and we hear many of them. Some unexpected characters pop up in the stories. He talks about some time with Joe Rogan and a lot of other people in the hunting industry, and it's just really fun to hear how Sam has said yes to things and chosen stories that people wouldn't expect, and it's brought him some pretty awesome places. So we get into all of that. You might be noticing I'm flying solo. Johnny and I, who normally is with me on this podcast, recorded an intro and technical difficulties didn't really work. So here we are. Maybe this is your first time on the Huntxp podcast. Want to let you know we've got a whole library of episodes just like this one, including a lot of voices that we've come to know and respect in the hunting industry. So go back to season 1, go back and check out some of our great episodes, from anything from the wolf problem in upper Midwest to traditional bow hunting to turkey hunting. We've got a lot of great episodes in our catalog. If you'd like more conversations like this, we'd love for you to join our growing community. Subscribe, stay tuned. We've got some great guests coming up. Before we jump into the podcast, I've got to let you know about something I'm really excited about. I've been working on a project of shifting my arrow setup from a kind of traditional, what you might refer to as a lighter arrow, to a heavy arrow setup. And before we jump into the conversation, I just wanted to show you the finished product that is ready to head out for the opening of this season. So these are what I'm going to be slinging this year, and I'm so excited for them. We partnered with a couple different partners, and I don't know what setup you're running this year. If it's working well for you, great. But if you have been contemplating a new one and maybe even going a little bit heavier for your arrows, here's what I'm running. Just want to tell you about it. These broadheads, potentially these, or these both come from Vantage Point Archery. We've got the Omegas and the 3-blade here. I'm just going to see which one flies more consistent when I put the head on. We are running these Easton FMJ Max arrows with a hit, or I think it's a hit insert, of 75 grains up there. And I went out to Vapor Trail Archery in Minnesota here in the Twin Cities, and Ricky Brule and the crew over there got me all dialed in, and I am ready to go with these guys. So for me, anyways, season's about to kick off in the whitetail woods. Maybe you've already been after it. One of the reasons why we do what we do is we want to level up each other's experience by building community. So if you're new around here, hop over to our website, huntxp.com, join our newsletter community, drop your name and what you're after in the comments, rate our podcast on Spotify. It helps other people like yourselves find conversations like this one. Well, Sam, you're here. Dude, we're so pumped to have you. Welcome to the Huntxp podcast, man.
Thank you. I'm pumped to be here. I had a question right off the bat. The name Huntxp, what does that stand for? Or is it like a gaming thing where it's like you're gaining XP? Did I nail it?
Yes.
Yes.
Nailed it.
Yes. Leveling up every podcast.
He gets it, man. Sam's on it. It does mean that. And the great irony is that neither Johnny and I are gamers.
That's even better.
We're not gamers at all.
That's
We
awesome.
don't play that.
I don't either,
No.
but I just know what it is, you know? So,
Yeah.
See,
Right.
see, it works.
yeah. I like to live IRL, you know, in real life. So
There you go.
Yes,
See,
for sure.
that's what we're doing. That's the true experience. That's the true XP is IRL.
Mhm. That's right.
Yeah.
Dude, yes, that's what it's for. Nod to the gamers, leveling up your hunt.
Mhm.
And I think it is more about the experience. I think for both of us, we're like, hey, you know, the experiences are what make hunting, not necessarily the trophies on the wall, unless they come with a good experience or a good story,
Right.
you know?
Right.
And so part of that is the community that we build through this podcast and otherwise, and stuff you've been doing for a long time, man, that I'm excited to get into in all the ways that you have helped others level up their experience. So
For sure.
welcome,
Thank you.
dude. We're pumped to
Thank
have
you.
you.
Yeah. Good to be here.
One thing that definitely leveled up my experience was I was sitting on my phone one day a couple of years ago, and there is this flash of this green superhero that goes across my phone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is that the green arrow? What is it? What am I seeing right now? And
Yeah.
I see your name, Sam Soholt. I'm like, what is this? And I have to
Yeah.
check this out. So by way of introduction, can you tell us what that superhero video was all about? Because it
Yeah.
was my intro to you, which was a fantastic
That's such
introduction.
a funny way to like find me. It's a good way to find me, but
Right.
so I have been all in when it comes to like Halloween costumes. Like when I was young, let's see. So one year I bought or, you know, found it like a thrift store. I mean, I'm like 12. I find a full rubber suit, like a hazmat suit. And we're not talking like the cheap, like Tyvek white ones. We're talking like military grade rubber. And then I bought a gas mask with it. And then I took an old like bug sprayer and put like a biohazard thing on it. And I walked around on Halloween with this rubber suit on for like, you know, 7 hours and just was sweating. Like just like
I was gonna say you must have been sweating so bad.
yeah.
Wow.
I mean, and then another year I went as a plugged toilet. So I wore a brown shirt and painted myself brown, which probably is not politically correct, but I was like 8 and wore a toilet seat around my neck and then I put a plunger on my head. So like I went as the turd.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
I
So
love it.
anyway, all that to say that the fall of 2018 had my good buddy Sean Francis with me and he filmed me all fall. So we lived in my school bus and we traveled around and hunted and he filmed me. He's not a hunter, which made it way better because he got to experience a whole bunch of stuff that like he never would have touched. So towards the end of October, we are on a mule deer hunt in Western North Dakota and had met up with a buddy. We hunted for like 4 days and then my buddy had left. And so it was just Sean and I. And we burned an entire day just filming this like Robin Hood superhero video because it was funny. Like we had been together, we've been hunting and living together on the bus for like at that point, you know, we're like 2.5 months in basically. So like mid-August until the end of October. And we're like, let's burn a day and have some fun. Like let's make a video that's for us, not for, you know, anything else. So like we drove all around in the side by side and I'd get out, have the costume on and then like run down some ridge or jump over or whatever and slide down and, you know, go hiked all the way up to the top of the thing so my buddy could fly the drone around me. And then we just went back and edited the whole thing up and posted it on Halloween 2018. It was just like for no other reason than it was just fun.
Love that, dude.
Yeah.
It seems like, I mean, I haven't studied your career in depth, but it seems like that creative freedom is something that really drives you, that ability to do what you want, to live a nomadic life like that. Where does that come from? Is it just natural part of who you are or something that developed over time?
Definitely developed over time. So when I was a kid, I was very straight-laced and very like regimented, you would say. I had a routine. Like I think it drove my parents crazy. Like I would wake up super early every morning. And because I had
Yeah,
like
that would drive them crazy.
yeah, I mean, and I get it, but I would have like, I'd wake up and I'd have breakfast and I'd watch TV or like whatever that was in that routine. I did that every day. So like, even when like, okay, all of a sudden I've got 6 a.m. basketball practices. Now I'm getting up at 4 instead of, 6. So like, and yeah, so I was very like type A, hated, like if there was a plan, I wanted to know the plan. And if the plan changed, it like threw me off. And then just somewhere, it just started to change, right? I think as I got a little bit older, you start to realize that some of those things that like I was so strict about, like didn't really matter. And it was really like, high school, for most of high school, I was still kind of that way. Started to like get a little more laid back towards the end of high school. Going into college, I just, like you grow up with your friends, right? And they're your friends because they were your same age. Like they just lived in your town, they went to your school. And then I went to college and you meet a whole bunch of people that you get to know them because like it's like they become your actual friends. Like you start to like pick and choose people that kind of like are in your flow. And that same buddy who filmed me on the bus doing that Robin Hood video, he's always been very eclectic. His name's Sean Francis. He was a, national, like went to USA Nationals as a pole vaulter, like was always doing crazy stuff, loved doing stunts. And, I mean, at one point we broke in a facility here at Fargo on campus and climbed up into the rafters and jumped out of the rafters onto the pole vault pits, like 30 feet down.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, right.
Why not?
So like you start to surround yourself with people who are like, just do it for the story, man. Like find, like do cooler things, not because somebody told you to, but like make the decision, like what's going to be the better story and follow that.
Wow.
And it was really towards the end of college that both Sean and I were like, let's just start making those decisions. And we both did. And then, like he went down like this crazy path of pole vaulting and then coaching and then creating a whole course and workout stuff. And like he's constantly doing, cool stuff. And then I went down, my niche was always like, I loved hunting. So it was like, I'm just going to start doing stuff that takes like, I say yes to stuff and go do cool stuff. So it's like, it's what led to the internship with Midwest Whitetail. And it just, all of these decisions was just like, I can do this or this. This is a fork in the road. Like, what's the better story? Like when I'm looking back at my whole life, what am I going to tell my kids, their kids, friends, family? Like, I want to be able to talk about some stuff, not, I did this for 40 years and now I'm here, retired, and I don't have the time or energy. I've got the money, but I don't have the energy to do all this stuff that I wanted to do.
Sure.
Yeah.
Love that, dude. So take us back to the Midwest Whitetails internship. How did you choose that? And then how did you jettison out of it? Was it one of those decisions to go, was there a better story you had in mind to do that?
Yeah. So I was in grad school and I had actually, one decision, better story, went out, filmed my brother on an elk hunt in Wyoming. They didn't shoot an elk. We had close calls. We were in bulls every day. There's elk bugling. We're in the mountains. I drove home and bought a bow. And I was like, my brother kept saying, you got to start archery hunting. There's big deer in North Dakota. You're at NDSU. You get in-state, tags, whatever. So I drove home and bought a bow, started practicing in the backyard. That next fall, I shot one whitetail on November 10th, and then I shot one on November 18th. So I shot a buck in South Dakota, and then I shot a buck in North Dakota. And so like I am first year archery hunting, have killed 2 deer within like just over a week. And I am like cloud 9, right?
Yeah.
And the idea between my brother and I, we'd always talked about like, let's do a hunting show, but neither of us had any idea what actually went into that. And so while I'm riding this high of like this beginner's luck, the universe going, here you go. This is going to change the trajectory of your entire life. I'm riding that high. I literally started like cold emailing, cold calling, any contact info I could find for any hunting show. So, I mean, I like literally like emailing my resume and everything to like info@sportsmanschannel.com, like, hey, I've got I'm getting a master's in business, blah, the whole thing. And earlier that fall, Midwest Whitetail had just started like 2 years prior. But a buddy of mine had sent an episode and this guy had shot this absolutely gigantic deer. Well, I had remembered that he had sent me this episode earlier in the fall And I went back and watched it, went to the website, and I was like, I wonder if they ever need an intern. And so I emailed Bill, and he emailed me back like 2 hours later. It was like, hey, we're always looking for interns, need help. Like, we're doing this on a shoestring budget. Why don't you come down over Christmas break and interview? And so I drove down to Albia, Iowa, and we met him at the office. And then we went to Subway and grabbed sandwiches and went back and ate Subway sandwiches in the Midwest Whitetail office for like 15 minutes. And then he's like, all right, we'll let you know. Drove away and got the job.
Nice.
And that, yeah. And then, so, just a few months later, I left Fargo, moved to Iowa. It was like basically for 90 days straight, it was either hunting or filming twice a day and editing in between and after, and living and breathing all things, whitetails. And I had some experience with a camera, but like didn't know how to edit really, didn't know how to actually properly shoot, video and compose a shot and that kind of thing. So had a crash course in that. I was there at the same time. Aaron Warburton and I were interns at the same time. And then there was Ben Koopman and Josh Neville and Hunter Kalos and Drew Yarkowski. Like everyone there has gone on to do basically anything that they have wanted to in the industry. I got to learn from those guys on how do you actually tell a story. And there's quite a few of those guys that were looking to like stay on. And I think the only one that they hired on full time was Aaron. And after that year, I think the rest of us were decided to leave. And some of the other guys wanted to stay, and just like there wasn't a position open. And my brother had opened up Gannett Ridge hunting equipment in Colorado. And he's like, hey, come on out. Made a whole pile of like YouTube videos for him on product stuff and trying to help sell stuff through their website. And then met a guy who owned a sales rep company he was selling to us a bunch of gear at the store. And he was like, hey, like I'm looking for somebody to manage the territory covering Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming. Do you have any interest in taking that position? I was like, well, I'm going to take this opportunity, move to Bozeman and learn how to sell stuff, everything from fly fishing reels to ARs to you name it. That was great. I learned how to sell very fast. And the only problem was the companies that were paying my commission were very slow. And so I went up there and traveled all over the territory. And, I think I had a stretch there where I had sold it was like $375,000 worth of goods in, like a month and a half or 2 months or whatever. But because a lot of the companies we were selling for couldn't keep up with the demand, I didn't get paid. So like orders got canceled, all sorts of stuff. So I basically moved to Montana and went completely way negative in the hole. Had to borrow money from my parents. Yeah. So, which ended up being a good thing because now I'm scrambling for any sort of money.
Yeah.
I was at a coffee shop inside of the Safeway grocery store, and the guy next to me was just like, he was working on the computer. I was working on my computer, like trying to send emails and sell stuff and, make phone calls. He was talking about some video project that he was working on. He gets off the phone. I was like, hey, what are you working on? He's like, oh, I'm just doing an edit for Museum of the Rockies here in Bozeman. But my main line of work is I'm a producer for a hunting show. I was like, no kidding. I was like, I actually just worked for Midwest Whitetail. You kind of have a big background in that. We started talking more because I was like, hey, I've got this video camera that I'm trying to sell. Like everything's moving to digital. It's, still a tape. He's like, oh, I would post it up at the film school. Made a flyer, posted it up there. I sold the camera a couple days later and sent him a message. Was like, hey, thanks for that tip. I sold that thing like right away. He was like, sweet. So then another week goes by. He sends me a message. He's like, hey, you ever run the Sony EX1? I was like, yeah, sure have. Like buddy Aaron had one at Midwest Whitetail. I've used it a lot. He's like, sweet. I need a second shooter on a brown bear hunt in Alaska. Do you want to go? Like, yes, absolutely. I need the money so bad,
Yeah.
And at that point, like the day rate that they were going to pay me was like $200 a day or something like that to go all the way to Alaska and film a brown bear hunt. And I was like, yeah, I'll take it. So flew to Alaska, filmed this brown bear hunt. That's what really started the networking snowball, because went up there, did this job. They were impressed with what I had done. And through that, they had a contact that had also filmed for the show, but he was working on for Coast Guard Alaska on Kodiak Island. And he had told my buddy Ian, who I met at the coffee shop, he's like, hey, Ian, we need another shooter. We had one guy leave. They had tried to hire Ian. Ian was like, hey, have you any interest in working for Coast Guard Alaska? And at the time, I was like, not really. I told this rep agency that I'd do it for 2 or 3 years, kind of like really stressful, like thinking about this. And finally, I reached back out to Ian. I was like, dude, I'll do it. Like if they still need a shooter, like I'm in. So then the producer reached out and had me send some stuff that I'd done in the past and, kind of my resume. And I hadn't told my sales rep agency that I was like even looking at this. And I had to go to ICAST for the show in Las Vegas. So I'm down there hawking fishing gear. And on Friday afternoon, I got a phone call from the producer of Coast Guard Alaska, or the showrunner. And he was like, hey, you're hired. We'd like you to be here on Monday. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. Yep. So then our whole rep agency, and there's like 10 of us, or no, 6 of us at the time. Not a very big agency, but we all went to dinner. And I was like, hey, I got to talk to you guys about something. I was like, I just accepted a filming job on Kodiak, Alaska, and I leave on Monday. And my good friend Todd, who owned the agency, was like, everybody else needs to leave the table for a little bit. Like Sam and I need to have a conversation. So him and I hashed it out, and he's like, do you need to leave early? Like, do you need to leave ICAST? And I was like, honestly, if I can, that would be major, So
wow.
I flew back to Bozeman the next day, packed up all my stuff, got on a plane at 5 a.m. and ended up in Kodiak on Monday. And I was filming search and rescues for the Coast Guard that week.
Jeez, dude.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Where does it...
Long way to go from Midwest Whitetail, but there I was.
Yeah. Man, I had no idea. And I think most people probably don't, all of the different experiences after that.
Yeah.
When does the bus come in? Like, when do you and your brother start talking about that and then launch into the bus for public lands?
Yeah. So the Coast Guard Alaska job led to the next job. So I was up there, and we all lived we had lived in these cabins behind this lodge. One day we just got like a knock on the door, which was weird because, nobody really just showed up. So opened the door, and it was the casting director for a new show that they were shooting for the History Channel. And she's like, hey, we're shooting this bear hunting show for the History Channel. We're looking for characters like on the island. So if you know like any hunting guides, or if you know any hunters, or if you know like any like really like big characters on Kodiak, just like point us in the right direction. And I mean, I hadn't really talked to, I knew the Coast Guard people that had become friends, and then the people that I worked with on the crew. And so I was like starving for like meeting new people and talking to new people. And I was like, let's throw a party. We need to have the History Channel crew over, So I organized this. Yeah. I was like, so I organized this giant party, and we get a whole bunch of crab and beer from Kodiak Brewing, and just invite these 25 people over and have this big shindig. And it was awesome. And the showrunner's name was Brady. And I was talking to him, and I was like, how's it all going? And he's like, it's good. We're just, trying to get this thing off the ground. It's just the pilot season. And I was like, hey, if you have need for another shooter, I was like, I'm done here in 2 weeks. I think shooting started like 2.5 weeks later. And I was like, I'm done in 2 weeks with the Coast Guard show. My whole background is hunting. Like I live and breathe this stuff. So if you need somebody to like go out and that can actually go out, and I have all the backcountry hunting gear, I don't need anything. He was like, okay, I'll let you know. And they got back to me like, hey, we just had a shooter drop out. Would you be interested? I was like, absolutely. So filmed brown bear hunting for 30 days at the end of my stint on Kodiak, and then finally went home. But the last hunt that I filmed, I met at the time, he was the PR director for Remington Firearms. And through this whole filming process, if anybody's been brown bear hunting or has watched brown bear hunting, it's short daylight days, but really long days where not a lot happens. And so I'm shooting photos kind of in between the filming stuff and the interviews we have to do. And I was just trying to get better at shooting photos in general. And at the end, I edited up, 500-600 photos and showed them to these guys of their hunt. And I was like, here's a hard drive. You can take them with you. And Chris Ellis is his name. He was on the hunt with a friend who had the tag. And he's like, we do these new product seminars for Remington. And the hard part is we ask these writers to go back and write an article about the new product. Like, would you just come and get photos of all of the writers using guns so that they can go home and have something for their magazine that they write for? I was like, sure. So he hired me for my first ever professional photo shoot. And then I was kind of like off to the races, like started to get to know editors and writers, and started getting hired for a few more jobs. Did like 3 or 4 new product seminars, which led to me meeting the editor of Peterson's Hunting Magazine. And at the time I felt like I was rolling because I had built my own portfolio, right? I had this PDF that I was emailing around. And I look back on that now as terrible photos. But at the time I was stoked about them. And this guy, Mike Scobie, shot me a message. He's like, hey, you got time for a call tomorrow? He calls me. The other guy on the phone is Ben O'Brien, who's a really good friend of mine now. He's like, hey, we're doing this cover shoot of a moose hunt in British Columbia. The hunter is Joe Rogan. We're going to go up, spend a week, try to get him a moose, try to get a cover photo, doing this whole eat what you kill like movement thing, trying to not like hide behind, any of it. So it was like really bold in your face, like the previous year's cover was like a knife through a back strap or whatever and blood dripping off of it. And I was like, yeah. So I'm still in this mode where I'm saying yes to everything. So I flew to British Columbia like a week later and spent a week in the truck with Ben and Joe. And we drove around and 5 days in, we still hadn't shot anything. And day 6, Joe killed a little forky moose and took the photo of him holding that giant quarter over his shoulder for the cover. And then that afternoon we drove back out, started hunting again. Ben shot a moose. And that was really like the launch pad for the photography side of things. And
what was it like hanging out with Joe Rogan for a week?
Yeah, that's the question.
It was awesome because like at the time, so this would have been 2014. So it was, I knew him as the Fear Factor guy.
Yeah.
He had a podcast obviously at the time, and so like I had pulled up a couple episodes. I think listened to him, one where he talked to Cam, one where he talked to Jim Shockey maybe, and a couple others just to try to get a feel for like who is this guy. It was awesome. I mean, he's like super laid back, incredibly funny, obviously he's a comedian, but incredibly funny just even in person. He's not, just putting on an act all the time. And we had a great time. It was, just roamed around for a week and, watched those guys hunt moose. So
that was one place I didn't expect this podcast to go, that you were moose hunting with Joe Rogan.
Right.
And then I kept shooting photos, started to build my name in that space, like was doing a lot for different people, going on different hunts. And then I went to SHOT Show and I ran into Ben O'Brien. I was like, hey, I got a new gig. And he's like, oh, what are you doing? I was like, I got a job and I'm going to be traveling around doing all of the consumer facing shows for Yeti Coolers, who was exploding at the time. And he's like, funny to say that. I just got the community marketing job at Yeti. So we got to cross paths a ton. And because he was in that role, he was taking these ambassadors on hunts all the time. And so he's like, hey, I need you for this one. I need you for this one. So I got hired a ton to go on all these trips with the Yeti ambassadors and shoot photos. And it was great. I was like, at the time, I had a girlfriend who's now my wife, but I was no kids, I didn't have a home. I had moved out of my place in Bozeman in 2014 and didn't actually have a physical address for like 6 years. And so I was just like bouncing. And, but all of that ended up leading to like, I got to a point where I was like, I'd kind of hit all the goals in the photo world that I had put for myself, like cover photo, shooting for these different clients, kind of like building that reputation as like somebody who can deliver good photos. And I was looking for that next project. What's the next thing? And way before, when my brother owned the store, they had talked about buying a bus to use as a mobile archery shop. He's like, and then maybe we could just get one and use it as like a marketing billboard out in front of the store. Well, then the conversation just kept weaving. He's like, what we could do is we could just buy one, rip all the seats out, throw some beanbags in and take it on a turkey tour. So this idea for like a school bus, I kept just, every time I saw a bus, I just kept seeing like what it could be,
Right.
And end of 2016, just decided like, yep, now's the time. And the only thing that I hadn't figured out was like, what's the story with the bus? Because just some kid, buying a bus and going hunting, like that story only lasts for so long. Like what's the impact? Well, at the same time, there's this giant public land fight going on. And to be totally honest, I was super naive to it like before that. Like I really didn't understand public land conservation funding. I was driving and I called my brother Josh and I was like, what if the storyline behind the bus is like a way to raise awareness and dollars for conservation, to protect public lands? And he's like, oh man, like what a perfect billboard. And so I bought a school bus for $3,500, and then I spent the entire summer of 2017 retrofitting it to be a mobile hunting shack.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Which actually I got a little bit of a bump in following because I had taken a job to go to Hawaii and shoot photos on the island of Lanai for Yeti. And it was like the craziest cast of characters, right? It's like Shane Dorian, big wave surfer, Remy Warren, Joe Rogan, Ben O'Brien, John Dudley. Who else was there? That might have been it. Adam Greentree. That might have been it the first year. But anyway, this big group of people. And we did a Rogan podcast on the island. It's called Podcasts in Paradise. I think it's the only podcast that he has out there that's not numbered.
Nice.
Yeah. And so he had me on the podcast with this group of people, and he was like, "Hey, what's the deal with the bus?" So like, got to kind of like give my 3 minutes about the bus, and like the next day, I think my following doubled. I think I went from like 5 to 10,000 followers like overnight.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah,
Joe Rogan.
He's got a little bit of pull for people. Yeah,
just a little. Yeah, and every once in a while, he brings the bus back up, and there was one episode where they like pulled up photos of it, and then they were talking about living off the grid. I think him and Brian Callen were talking about living off the grid, and he's like, my buddy Sam built a school bus, and Callen was like, I don't think I'd want a school bus. He's like, no, you don't want a bus. I mean, Sam's crazy, but it's awesome.
I'm picking up something here. So I just think I'm kind of bringing this thing full circle here, and I hear you talk about what you were like as a kid with this routine and this regimen, and then your little switch. And it seems like you have just said yes to experience, and it has completely carried you to where you are today. And I think that's really inspiring, because I think people get stuck in this I got to just like go to school, get a degree, get a job, and that's the plan. And I'm too afraid to step out of my comfort zone. But you've stepped out of your comfort zone, and it set you up for where you are today. Do you take that same approach when you're in the woods, like when you're hunting? Because I ask that because I think a lot of people, when they get into hunting, they're like, well, I have to go to this tree stand this time of year. I have to go do this because I saw someone do this, or this is the way I've always done it, so I got to do this way. Like, what's your approach when you're hunting?
Well, I think the way I kind of like live life definitely bleeds over into how I hunt. I've been in times where you get stuck in like, you're just, you're kind of following the rules of hunting.
Yeah.
But definitely the best experiences and the most success I've had is when you're doing stuff that's out of the ordinary. Hunting from the ground isn't out of the ordinary, but like using a heads up decoy and shooting a buck at like 8 yards that's trying to come in and kill you, like that's a different experience that I wouldn't have had if I didn't just like go in and be aggressive about it. Okay. Or like being willing, like I think after like going west and learning like 2, 3, 4 miles, like just isn't that far. Like it's mostly just time, right? It's just a long walk. And so like when I bring that back to the Midwest, like the Dakotas or, Minnesota, Wisconsin, whatever, like it's like just not, it doesn't feel that difficult to be like, oh, I'm going 2.5 miles in. Like, okay, that's 40 minutes. It's like, it's just, it's time, not like I'm going to be really tired. So like you start to like, you just get away from people and you have experiences that like most people wouldn't have. And I'm not saying you have to do those things to be successful, but boy, you get to see some things happen where like you start to get away from that pressure and animals start to act like animals again and not act scared all the time. So yeah, I definitely think just like trying to go seek out experiences has been a better way to hunt for me.
Do you have a story that you tell often of one of those moments where you're like, screw this, I'm just going to try this? And one of those sorts of experiences came to you?
I think, honestly, the decoy thing, being at Midwest Whitetail, we did a lot of it. It was just like tree stand, camera guy, tree stand, camera arm, the whole like regimented. But the going into the decoying stuff was a big change and like so much more fun. I like that day, like I had never been into that chunk of public, and like I walked in there, I saw deer were moving, and I was like, screw it, slapping this thing on the front of the bow. We're gonna see if we can make this happen. And I literally just like got into the mindset like I'm a deer, like I am going to act like, and I did. I was walking along this like it was like a real long kind of like pinchy creek bottom, kind of like ebbed and flowed, like would skinny down and then get a little wider. I started seeing rubs, like a rub line and scrape line. And so I would like walk slow and move, and I'd go to a scrape, and I would like just rip dirt up with my boots and grunt a few times and then like keep moving. And I literally think that I got into that headspace, like I am a buck and I'm going to go like find a fight. And it worked. I almost got in a fight with 3 different deer and ended up killing one. So
You won.
it was awesome.
You won.
Yeah.
Yeah. You did win.
Dude, that's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question as someone who geographically finds themselves yourself in the middle between the West and Midwest?
Mm-hmm.
As I've gotten into land conservation more, I feel like there's a lot of catching up us Midwesterners have to do, because when we think public land, we think like 100 acres.
The state piece down the road. Yeah.
The state piece down the road.
Yeah.
And you have done so much to bring awareness to that. What level of awareness do you want to see us Midwesterners grow in? Because I think there's a kind of this mentality like that's something for people in Utah to worry about.
Right.
Or that's something for people in Montana to worry about.
Yeah.
But you have worked hard for that not to be the case. So what do us Midwesterners who are just becoming conscious of this need to advocate for that, what do you want us to know? Like, how do we engage?
Well, I think the biggest thing for people to understand is that public lands affect us all. And like, I understand it's hard to wrap your head around that. If you don't live close to like these hundreds of thousands and millions of acres, like of continuous public land. Because like you said, it's that 100-acre chunk down the road. But this country, like it's public land is part of the fabric of our country. And it was one of our greatest ideas. And the fact that we had people in power that could see the importance of, I think it came from, they had seen what happened in other countries in Europe and, places that had become basically populated, have become owned, right? From left to right, from border to border. Like somebody has ownership over that land most of the time. They saw that. And when they went and experienced these like crazy, big, wild places, to have the forethought to see further into the future and understand like, this is stuff that like we need to protect for future generations. And they would go have an experience and then feel powerful enough about it. Teddy Roosevelt was, obviously the godfather of public lands. Well, his wife died and he was in massive depression and he moved to the Badlands and became a rancher for a while. And his experience in that like incredibly rough, wild country molded his views protecting this, because then you go back east to where it's heavily populated and he's going, man, we need to protect this stuff for the future. So I can understand, and I grew up in the Midwest, so like you said, small chunks of public land. But it wasn't until I moved west where it really opened my eyes. Like, man, this is crazy. Like I can park at this trailhead and I could just leave, and as long as I come back in 16 days and move my truck, like I'm good to go.
Right.
It's pretty amazing to have that type of freedom. If we were to start to lose that, I think it changes our culture completely. Without that freedom, even the possibility of the freedom, where like even there's a lot of people that will never go and chase that, right? But maybe they have a son or daughter, read some random article or book. You mean I can just go to Montana and like live out in the wild and do these crazy things? I can raft down the Yellowstone River, or I can hike into, I can go ice climbing. I can do this, and it's all free. It's not so much about like who's here today are going to be our descendants. Protecting it for them to possibly have that experience is more important than anything.
And that hits different when you put it that way.
Yeah.
I mean, all of us have kids, and to think about the stories you just described, the life that unfolded in front of you because you said, yes, I want to live a better story. Like that being cut off, or the ability to do that in the wild for our kids, that's pretty motivating wherever you live.
Yeah, so. I wouldn't have been able to live this life without public land. Like my career, this path does not happen.
I think of some of my greatest adventures or hunts that I've done, and my greatest experiences out west too. And it's like, if that goes away, like I've experienced them, but my kids can't. And that's all I want, is for my kids to experience those same things that I was able to do. That's awesome. It's crazy.
So Roosevelt had a quote, basically said, we need to protect it for the greatest good for the greatest number of people within the womb of time. And so basically what it meant was everybody who's alive today and anyone who will be born going into the future forever. That's pretty powerful.
Deep stuff, Teddy.
I know.
Yeah. Teddy.
Yeah.
I had something figured out.
So Sam, what are you currently doing? Like, what are you currently working on?
Yeah. So right now, photo, video stuff for different brands within the hunting space. So, you got to make a living somehow. So I might as well do it in a fun way. I always tell people I retired right out of college. But so that's still my main thing. And then my brother, Josh, and I still own Public Land Tees. So we're still raising money for conservation.
Yeah.
We're just about to get into kind of the swing of the Stamp It Forward project and the Duck Ruck and raising money for duck stamps and wetland conservation this fall. And then, just kind of, continue. I'm doing a film project for Vortex this year, which I'm super jacked about. Sweet. I like to weave in, obviously anytime I'm out and shooting photos and delivering stuff to clients, but trying to do some more like bigger storytelling stuff. So got a couple film projects this fall that'll be fun. And then we'll see where the wind blows, like it's like the algorithm, right? You got to kind of continue to pivot and be willing to pivot when it comes to what content you create, what style of work you're doing. And so I'm just trying to navigate that going forward and figure out, okay, what can I do to pivot to learn what, companies might need or what I need to do to continue to shift. So I used to be just a photographer. It used to be nice to be able to post a photo and people actually saw it. It was chronological order. And now everybody has to be a video editor and, a video content creator. And it is exhausting, but there's some freedom in that too. One of the beautiful things is like, you can kind of post whatever you want, be as creative as you want because nobody's going to see it. And there's freedom in that.
Yeah, for sure.
Dude. That's good. All right, we're going to do a little impromptu Huntxp fire round for you.
Let's do it.
So I'm putting Johnny on the spot. I'm going to ask you a question. Give me your answer, and then it'll be his turn. Someone walks up to you and says, I will pay for you to go anywhere in North America to hunt. Where are you going? What are you hunting?
This is me or Johnny?
Oh, you.
It's you. That's you.
Sorry. Okay. Okay.
You're like, do I get this?
It's like,
Can I have this?
I get to go anywhere.
Johnny? Yeah. No, it's for you.
See. Anywhere in North America to hunt anything. I think I'm going to go to Northwest Territories and hunt and do a Dall sheep hunt.
There you go.
Yeah. I filmed one a couple years ago and that country is awesome. Yep.
Okay. My turn to ask the question.
Yep.
That's okay.
Going.
All right. Your preferred backcountry hunting brand that you wear?
Oh, First Light. Yep. They're one of my clients. So, I'm, I kind of have to wear their stuff, but it's also like, it's very nice. I worked with Sitka for a lot of years. They make great clothing. And then First Light more or less recruited me in with their allure of helping amplify all the messages that we do with all the public land stuff, as well as making really nice clothing. So as far as like clothing stuff goes, I've been all First Light for the last 4 years.
Awesome.
Fixed blade or mechanical?
I'm a mechanical guy. Mega meat for president.
For president?
Oh, that's good stuff.
That's a good one.
That's good stuff.
Okay. First animal you harvested.
Legally? Like as with a tag in my pocket or
legally? Are we talking
with a tag?
The only reason I say that is because with a tag in my pocket. Every kid has shot,
a squirrel. Yeah,
stuff,
whatever. Yeah.
Squirrel. Right.
Of course.
It would have been a duck. Yep. First ever hunt with like a license in my pocket post hunter safety was a duck hunt with my dad and brother. So I think I shot a teal first. Yep.
Yeah.
Teal.
Yeah.
I swear, man.
Yeah.
There you go. If you had just 1 week and you chose between a photo project or a video project, which would you choose?
Photo. Yep, for sure. Yep. Do you want a reason why or just like?
Yeah, I want the reason why.
The photo stuff, I feel like you can live in the moment way more when you're just shooting photos because when you're shooting video, you can almost never have enough clips. Like, obviously as you start to get better, you start to like wean down on how many you need to shoot. But when you shoot photos, you're just capturing little segments of time and telling the story with like an image or 2 or 10 or whatever from the trip. Whereas video, like you're just glued to the viewfinder and you're just capturing all these little storytelling details. Whereas you can take a pretty aspirational photo in one click, and that could, like people could see that and be like, that guy shot a caribou in northern British Columbia and is hiking it out, And whereas the video, like you're putting together a film, you're just like, you're kind of always in the camera. Now, I do love like taking video because going back and looking at old footage is one of my favorite things to do. But when it comes to like living in the present moment, photos for sure.
I have maybe 2 more. Is that okay?
Okay.
Oh, he's wrong.
It was fun. Favorite wild game to consume with your mouth?
Antelope.
I don't know why I said with your mouth. Yeah. I don't know why I did that.
Oh, man.
Antelope with my mouth. I inject elk right into the vein.
That sounds like some Joe Rogan stuff there.
Yeah, right?
Injecting
Right.
elk into the vein.
I inject elk, I snort caribou, and I eat antelope.
There you go. I think my last question. Great. Okay, maybe like I'm sure you can't really like choose, and you've had a lot of awesome clients and stuff you've hunted with, but like one memorable person that you've hunted with, or one memorable experience with someone that maybe you haven't talked about yet.
Oh, we grew up waterfowl hunting. Like that was it, for like a lot of years. And I got to, through Yeti, I got to go hunt and shoot photos of the Duck Commander crew. So I got to go share a duck blind with Phil Robertson.
Wow.
I literally, like, I have signed posters of him framed. Like, I mean, I have all, I have 25 of their videos, like, all of it.
Yeah.
And so to go spend time, like, actually in the duck blind with those guys was awesome.
That is incredible.
I remember the moment. That's remarkable. I remember the moment because the Duck Commander was my intro into like wanting to start filming hunts. Yeah. I was like, we got to do this. And we were teenagers when those were getting
on VHS. Didn't we have it on VHS?
Yeah, I want to show you guys something.
Yeah.
Keep talking. I'm going to show you guys something.
Right. Yeah. I remember watching that in your basement.
Yeah, we would. We had tapes, DVDs, VHS. The greatest moment for me was
when he rolls the deer.
Background what's that?
No, the background music
is "I'll Fly Away, Oh Glory," like some hick, women's choir singing "I'll Fly Away," and they're just killing ducks in Louisiana. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah,
how does this exist? It's amazing.
That's awesome. So one of the photos I took of Phil while I was on that trip is one of my favorite photos of all time. And then when he passed away not too long ago, an artist reached out to me and he's like, hey, I want to do an original painting of Phil. He's like, could I use your photo as a reference photo? And then the original went to the Robertson family, framed and everything, and it got sent down to Louisiana. But he sent me he made one print for me. So check this thing out.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, now, so you took that original photo?
That's amazing.
So I took that photo of Phil and then the artist painted it. Yep. And then this is a print of that, but he sent the original to the Robertson family, which is pretty cool.
That's incredible, man. That's incredible.
So I need to get that framed because that
is really cool. All because you started saying,
I gotta give him a shout out.
Yeah. All because you started saying yes to stuff. Holy cow.
Yeah. Let's see here. Jared Knox is the artist's name.
He's the artist that made that?
His handles Jared Knox Art. Yeah, he's incredible.
We'll tag him.
Yeah, clearly.
What an awesome story. All right, my last fire round question. And then Sam, this has been incredible, man. Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
The hard one.
Okay,
you got 7 spots on a hunt that you can go anywhere. 2 of them are for Johnny and I, of course.
Okay. All right. So I've got 5 left.
You only got 5 more. Who's going with you?
All right. Dad, brother. I'm trying to think of who else I'd bring. We usually do like a family hunt. So dad, brother, uncle. Like that's always like, so I've got 2 left. I'm bringing, a good question. I'm trying to think of people I've like grew up hunting with. Like people that have, my buddy Chris Ellis, he's the one that has been like a mentor in the hunting industry. I'm bringing him. And then one more.
Joe Rogan.
Yeah, throw Rogan there. Why not?
Why not? Why not?
Yeah, why not? Bring him along.
Just
He's
yes.
down to hunt.
It'd be a better
That's
story.
right. Say yes. It would be a better story. Yeah.
Dude, Sam, this is great. If people are not following you for some reason or what you're working on, what are the key things they want to be following to keep up with what you're up to?
Yeah. So one of the most public things that's going on right now is I am the host of the Legends of the Wild podcast for Field and Stream. So that's their first podcast they've ever had, which I'm super jacked about. So we've got 8 episodes recorded. 6 are out currently. The next one drops this Wednesday. And then there'll be another 2 a month. So follow along there. And then my Instagram page is just at Sam Soholt. And then all the Public Land Tees stuff is at Public Land Tees. And then my brother and I have a YouTube channel called Soholt Brothers, which we need to add more to, which we will be.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yep.
Sam, this has been fantastic. We wish you all the best. We'll be cheering you on. Let's stay connected. And thanks for the time, dude. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on. I love just diving into all this stuff. I love telling the story.
Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, Sam.
Behind the scenes bonus banter.
What's happening?
How's it going, man?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
Good. Doing good.
Good.
I told Johnny right before you jumped on, I'm like, dude, I gotta jump back on here. And I didn't say it explicitly, but it was understood. Like, Sam's probably going to jump on right when I get off and come back on. So
literally the second he hopped off, you hopped on. It's perfect.
Nice.
Dude, this is fun. I need to go apparently grab my duck camo.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that we're aligned here.
That would be amazing. Yeah. I mean, we called each other.
You really messed up. Yeah. Me and Sam conspired against
really
you.
Did. I really did. Wow. This is sweet, man. This is so fun that Nick texted you on our behalf, and here we are.
Yeah, he called. He's like, "Hey, you got time for a call?" And then we, BS'd about life for a while. And then he's like, "Hey, before I let you go," I was like, "Oh, sweet. Okay. Yeah, get me in touch. Just have him reach out."
Dude, he's just an amazing human.
Yeah.
It was so fun getting to know him. So
yeah. Nick's the best.
It was a blast. This is so cool. You got any questions? I'm sure you got questions about who the heck we are. And then I can kind of give you a rundown of where I think we're going. And we never quite know where we're going. So
I guess what's your main purpose of this whole thing?
Ooh, leading with the deep question.
I mean, I think that's the only question if you're doing a podcast, right?
Yes. I'll take a crack at it. I mean, our main purpose is to have fun.
Yeah.
I think that's what drives us the most. But we like to have purposeful fun, Johnny and I. I mean, we like to have fun, but purposeful fun is even more enriching. So for us, the purpose behind the fun we're having is to have better experiences ourselves. We want to elevate our own experiences and others, but we are both kind of community builders, not explicitly by profession, but some of the richest experience in our hunting heritage has been the community that we were both birthed into, but then built through hunting. And I think there's a part of us that wants to build that through authenticity, just being who we are, sharing our own experiences. And we're both learners. And so part of this podcast is we just love learning from people like yourself and getting to know more people and their experiences. So that's the long answer. Heck, we just kind of like talking to each other. So we're longtime friends.
Yeah,
and we're like, we honestly did not chat a whole ton, but whenever we hung out, it was like we picked right back up where we left off. Whether there hasn't been a guest that we haven't enjoyed, but even if we didn't, we would still have a blast just hanging out with each other.
Where are you guys from?
I'm from northern Wisconsin.
Okay. What part, I guess? Like what?
Ashland specifically, like right on Lake Superior.
Nice. My dad grew up in Shell Lake.
Oh, nice.
Yep. So my grandma still lives there. She's 99. So she's,
99.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And
you, JD, where are you from?
I grew up in Ashland, but now I live in Minneapolis.
Okay.
So
cool.
That's where I'm based. And are you in South Dakota?
North Dakota.
North Dakota. Okay.
Yeah, grew up in South Dakota and then went to school here at NDSU and then moved away for a good chunk of time. And then my wife got a job at the hospital here. So we moved back, which was supposed to be temporary. And then we've been like, this has been our address for 5 years. She did travel OT for a couple of years, so we kind of bounced around all over the place. And then we're actually, we're always looking to move though, so we're working on that.
I picked that up from your story, man. Maybe we might get into that a little bit.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
I think you live into the nomad more than just in like moniker. Like it's like part of who you are is what.
Yeah. Which is I'll go back and explain, but it's funny. Like growing up, like that's not how I was at all. I was way more type A. Had to have a plan. Hated it when the plan changed.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, and then kind of just like the chaos became the normal, and so like I just kind of leaned into it.
That's awesome, dude.
No,
that's good.
Yeah, I just figured, like the more you're uncomfortable, the better.
I like that.
Yep. Me too.
That's great, dude. Well, as you can tell already, we don't take ourselves too seriously.
Absolutely.
Dude, Nick's recording was actually frankly hilarious because each of us had like dogs running around in the background. His wife straight up was like, you better approve this Amazon order.
Rug. It was a rug, right?
Or I'm going to quit. I'm going to quit. And we stopped like midway and he approved a rug.
Oh, man. That's he is in the deep throes of a pregnant wife, and they just moved into a house, and they're getting the nursery ready. There's
she's nesting.
Yeah, big time. Yeah.
We know that.
Yep.
Do you have kids?
One. Yeah, we've got a 1-year-old girl. Yeah.
Awesome.
Fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's great.
We just had her birthday party last weekend. Yeah, on the 30th, and her name's Oakley, so we did like Camp Oakley, and so I went full dad mode, and I made it's probably like 6 foot wide by 4 or 5 feet tall. Made like a national park sign that says Camp Oakley.
Oh, wow!
Out of cardboard. Dude. So I was proud of that.
Yeah, man.
Just dad of the year over here.
I don't know about that, but
we each have 3 kids, so we're just dadded out. We don't do anything special for our kids anymore.
I figured I should do it for number 1 because I have heard that like once you start having more than one like that, all that stuff goes out the window.
It sure does.
Just chaos.
I feel bad for my third.
Yeah,
like go through milestones. I'm like, sorry, dude. You're getting the leftovers.
Congratulations.
Like, we'll take one picture. Slap you on the back. Good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've got my 2 oldest ones are boys, and then our youngest is 4, and she's my girl, and she's just a feral child. Like she's just running around outside, like with the boys. Like today, we're building a house. I was working on the house, and the boys took off they're 9 and 7, took off all their clothes except for their underwear, and then I look over and she's running around in her underwear, and then we have chickens, and she's running around carrying a chicken around, and I'm like, what is my life?
Oh, that's awesome.
There could be worse things that she is into. So the chicken is just fine.
Yeah. Well, she'll grow up tough anyway. So that's the most important thing. Yeah.
Right.
That's good. All right. I'll awkwardly just pretend like you jumped on the podcast
Let's do it. Yep.
And then we'll roll right into it.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yep.
Great. I'm going to figure out how to hide you so I can look at hide you.
Don't hide me.
Be hidden. Figure out how to make you full screen. That's the opposite of what I'm looking for. I always love seeing more.
Full screen me. So give me the 30-second version. Yes, that's what I need.
I don't know if this works. Let's see. Find out if it works. Well, now I don't know how to get off full screen myself. There I am. Hear me over.
There we go.
Podcast team. I'm not really hearing you that well.
Really? Do it. Now is that better?
Keep talking.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Lemons. Josh Jacobs. Packers.
Hey, how about that game?
I watched 0 seconds of it because I was working at my house all day, but I looked up the score 10 seconds ago.
You did look at the score, though.
I did.
Nice.
And it looked good.
It was good. That is the appropriate word for it.
Because the Lions are a pretty good football team.
They're a really good football team, man. Why is this? Check 1, 2. Man, why does it got to do this? It is always something. Maybe it's this cord or something. All right, I got to run and grab some headphones. I'll be right back. That are not these, apparently. All right, dude. Soholt. Sammy, what are you doing? It's time to go upstairs now. The door closed, please. How are you, man?
I'm fighting sneezes. I was cleaning up drywall dust all day, and it's in my whole body. And I had a half marathon this morning. I had a race this morning.
Oh, really?
So been just busy all day.
Building a house, a marathon.
Ran the half marathon, and then I got home, and then I went straight to my other house and started working on it. And when I text you, I was like, just leaving. So I've been working all day.
That is the full day, dude.
But that's okay.
Well, these Sundays are getting full now. I always have been, but it's pretty chill for me in the summer with stuff. Now we have morning church again. So brunch church. And then pretty soon here, we're going to have an evening church too that I'm helping with at 5. So, and then watch the Packer game, mowed the lawn. So pretty wiped.
Nice.
But I did not run a half marathon. So
that's okay.
I feel like I didn't earn the tired as much as you did. So,
well, it's all relative. Yes, it is. Dude, I cannot believe still, and I didn't check the analytics today, but how Nick's pod just, for us, it was huge.
Oh, it was great.
So
it's just wild, man. It's wild. Got the messages. People are like, hey, dude, I've been binging your guys' channel. It's awesome. So,
wow.
Certainly got a few. Just really nice. Keep it up. Keep it going. So
that's awesome. I saw we hit that for whatever 40,000 watch hours or whatever that is. 4,000.
So we just once. Oh, I want to show you this. Can I show you? Yeah. Totally screw up my camera, but I'm going to show it to you. Check this out. And I don't mean my dirty basement. Look at that thing in the corner over there. See that?
The fan?
Yep. It's the first one I've done with the wings. Isn't that slick?
Dude, that is cool.
Have you ever done something like that?
Is that sure?
This year's bird.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, I've never done one with the wings. My Uncle Greg did, but I've never done one like that.
Hot tip. Pro tip. Pro hot. Take. Tip.
Hot tip.
Try to flatten the wings. I dried them and they're full on curved like this. So I was heaving the bird up against the wall to attach it to the wall. So
got it.
I got to learn how to do that properly because maybe that's how it's supposed to be. It's really splayed out, but there's a lot of pressure up against the wall there.
I think it's supposed to be difficult to hang it on the wall.
I thought for a hot minute, you know what? Maybe I should turn this upside down. Fan should be down as if it was flying away.
Hey.
And I did it, and it looks super goofy. That's why people don't do that.
There's a reason why.
It looks like a turkey without a head.
Me and the boys put up a couple tents today, though, too, in the meantime. So getting ready for next weekend.
Next weekend. It was crickets on some of my trail cams. Like nothing. And then the last few days, there's been a couple does prancing around that are clearly a couple different pairs or groups. I'm like, all right, I feel better about it. I was like going into this weekend, I'm going to bring Daniel out and there's going to be absolutely nothing out there. I did some work on some internship promotion. Nothing's public, but we've just got so much of a backlog of content. And I think we're just going to have even more. And even if I can pass off some of the podcast stuff that I've learned how to do really well. So, and just talking with other people, they're like, bro, I didn't expect any money. And hearing how many people apply for some of these other things, if we can get 1 or 2 quality candidates and just like a young kid that wants to build their portfolio, we're going to invest in that dude or gal.
Dude, I would work for us.
I would work for us too. I would. I do work for myself.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah. No, and I guess in this sense, we work together, but I kind of work for you and I love it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's fun. You do not work for me. We do this together. I know. But I ask you to do stuff sometimes.
And I forget to do some of it, but I try.
We do what we can.
We do what we can.
Hey there, thanks for watching this video. I'm JD, founder and crew member of the Huntxp team. We're so grateful that you took time to watch this video and hopefully it's helping you level up your hunting game. That's what we and our community is all about, and we want to invite you into this growing community of hunters that's all about leveling up each other's hunting game. So the first thing you can do is like and subscribe, but even more than that, we got some fun things going on over at our website, Huntxp.com. We'd love for you to join our community there and stay connected with what we're doing, what we're working on, and we'd love to hear about what you're after. So thank you for watching this video. We'll see you next time.